and all of that, and yet I was also struggling with something in the interior. I was always referred to as shy or quiet growing up, whether it was my family or my friends or just people that would just meet me. They kind of referred to me as shy, and while that was a reality of my personality, there was definitely something going on deeper than that, deeper than those words, shy or quiet. And it was really a struggle with feeling judged and perceived by people, and really desiring so much people's approval and desiring to not be rejected by people that it put me in this place of almost terror before humanity, where in social settings I felt entirely inadequate, entirely incapable of being normal. And so I felt kind of like this weird outcast in some way, while at the same time having a community of friends and family members who really cared for me. And so this just carried on through my adolescenthood, through high school, and I would say near the end of high school, it all just began to emerge. This anxiety disorder that was untreated for 10 years or so began to emerge and manifest, and that's what it does. If you even study intro psychology or psychopathology, you'll realize that untreated anxiety often leads to other things, such as depression, substance abuse, and all these other things. And so here I am, 17, almost 18, exiting high school, and I decided to stay where I was living and stay and go to the community college. And I'm from Cape Canaveral, Florida, actually this little small surfing village, basically, where we fish and surf. And everyone knows everyone else for the most part. And so I just stayed where I was in the community college and went to school and kind of appeased my family, my friends, did the thing that you're supposed to do in society. And at the same time, this anxiety that had been a struggle for almost my entire life, and now this depression and this deep sense of meaninglessness with life and just a loss of purpose and all of that stuff just started coming together, converging, all at this point at about 18 years old. And I remember standing before my mother, and for the first time, just broken, crying, not understanding my emotions or what was going on, and just, for the first time, using the word depressed. Mom, I think I'm depressed, and so from there, I tried counseling, and the counselor confirmed, yeah, you're suffering with depression, and I never went back to him. I wasn't ready for help, ultimately. I was kind of in this place where I didn't understand things, and I was trying to identify what was going on inside me, but I wasn't ready to really take a step towards any real treatment or help. And so, for me, the best way to do it was substances. And so, it really started off like most stories for the most part. Just marijuana, drinking, moved into hallucinogens, and really drugs became this existential way for me to experience some form of meaning in my life, where I could really wake up, and no longer did I wake up and see everything as gray and see everything as really this blanket of whatever, like thinking about the next day and then the next day and the next day and seeing nothing that's purposeful. And so drugs really became, in this strange, skewed type of way, a form of meaning in my life. And that kind of experimentation and journey and experience with narcotics entangled me so much that I came to a point where I just kind of left all the side of boundaries and restrictions, because that's what you do when you're using. You're like, okay, I'll do this, but I won't do this. I'll do this, but I won't do this. Well, I was about 19 years old, and I was coming home from this party, and this kid pulls out this pill out of his pocket, and he offers it to me, and he said, it's an Oxycontin. And at this point, Oxycontin had really hit the streets for the most part in like 2002, and I kind of knew what it was. I knew it was a painkiller, and I was ready to just try whatever. And so I did. And at that moment where I actually experienced the effects of this narcotic, I had this encounter, if you will, with a form of salvation for me. It was like this drug was designed for me and all my struggles with anxiety, with depression, all the things I was going through. It was like this thing just took it away from me. And so you have to imagine somebody who's lost and doesn't understand a healthy way of coping or seeking help finds this solution in a narcotic, and it becomes your go-to. And that's what it was for me. And it was this maybe a few times during the week or the weekend, about 5 times during the week, and it became this everyday thing. And I didn't really know it was an everyday thing until I woke up one morning and I was sick. And I was telling my friend, I got the flu, and he asked me, well, how long has it been since you used? And I thought about it. Maybe a day. He was like, you're dope sick. Okay. And so here I am, again, about 19 years old, and I'm an addict, right? All these words kind of coming into my mind, like I'm sick because I can't use, because I don't have the drug in my system, and so I'm the junkie, living in this small community where, again, everyone knows everyone else, everyone knows your business, and people start, to get worried. My family starts to catch wind of it, and it didn't stop there. For me, it really led to basically the same type of substance, an opiate, but it became something that's highly more stigmatized, and there's way more taboo connected to it, and it was heroin. And that really became, I would say, my ultimate bread and butter. Like, I would wake up in the morning, I would go find it, maybe get enough to sell so I could get more, so I could use more, and I would just go back to my room where I was staying. Use, maybe with one other person around me, and it led me into such a place of isolation and shame because of what I had become, for one. The boy who had hope and a future and all these things becomes this junkie. And with that, loads of shame, failure, all of these things. And then on top of that, all the things that you do to get the drug that are too shameful to speak about on stage. The weight of that just broke me. And so again, it just led me deeper into the addiction. To where for about 3 or 4 months, I was literally isolated in a room, leaving the room, going to score, come back, using. And it was bad. I mean, it was bad. I was about 25 pounds less than I am now, and I was a mess. Talking to my mom even now, hearing her perspective on it, she would go into my room each morning when I was staying at the house, each morning just to see if I was alive. She would wait to see my chest raise to know that I was breathing. And so it was, for everyone, it was a heavy thing. But then, this is where the change started happening. My mom calls me up and she invites me over for dinner, and she just said she had a question to ask me. And so I went over there, and at this point I'm ready for something different with my life. I'm ready for a change. I tried to get clean several times, and I would fall right back into it. And so I just felt so enslaved by this thing, I was starting to get pissed off at the drug. It was like an abusive relationship. It's like you want to leave, but you can't. You just find yourself back in, and then you're back in, and you don't know why you're there. And so that's where I was. She invites me over, I go over, and she asks me, what do you think about going on a mission trip to Nicaragua, Central America? And she probably thought I was going to say absolutely not. but I said yes. And at this point in my life, I hated the idea of God, the church, all of that stuff. It was a symbol of woundedness to me, and yet I said yes because I was ready for something different. And so I'm in Nicaragua with a hoodie over my head. I barely get down there. I was sick, and about halfway through the week, I decided to just open up to the experience. There's something going on, some grace, whatever you want to call it, moving in me, where I came to a point where I was tired of living my life in isolation in this place of just utter alienation from humanity, from God, from all of this stuff. Began to open up, and as I began to open up, people started to come into my story just to listen to me and to show that they cared. And when that happened, change just started happening in me. Like this hope started rising in me, and the last day I was there, I met somebody who was going through similar stuff about my